I never thought I'd end up living in my car. The rain was pounding hard on the roof of the car. I clasped my hands together, trying to stop shaking. My car was more than my home now. It was the only thing I had. I had only $2 in my pocket and mountains of despair. As the raindrops hit the windscreen, I couldn't stop thinking about the mistakes I had made in my life, my regrets, and the bad decisions I had made. As I shiver in the car, my mind takes me back to the past, a few years ago. Back then, I could never have imagined that my life would turn upside down like this. I had a good job, my own house, a social circle. Everything seemed to be fine, but whatever happened in the blink of an eye. Maybe my biggest mistake was missing that opportunity. This job offer is for another time, I thought. Not now. I turned down an opportunity to improve my position at work because I was too comfortable. Then a crisis hit, I was laid off. Then I couldn't pay my rent. I realized then that something was wrong somewhere, but it was too late. After that, I couldn't trust anyone. Even accepting their help felt like a weakness. I made one mistake after another until all my savings were exhausted. After I turned down that opportunity, things were never the same again. I fell out of favor at work. People started to look at me differently. Even the colleague I felt closest to distanced herself from me. I started to feel worthless, like I was stuck in the same place every day. Then came the big crisis. When my boss called me into the room and told me that they had to downsize, the cold emptiness inside me grew. That day, I was dismissed, I was humiliated, but I still thought I could recover. I immediately started looking for another job. But everywhere was tight, hiring had stopped, nobody wanted to take risks. Day by day, I found it difficult to pay the rent. I thought of borrowing money from my friends, but my pride wouldn't let me. I always thought I could handle everything. Until then, I had never asked for help, and I didn't have the courage to ask for it. Eventually, I was unable to pay my debts. Banks started calling me. First month, I received warnings, then threats. As the days passed, I knew I had to get out of the house. Finally, I found myself in this car with only $2 in my pocket and a dark cloud over my head. In the back seat of the car, with my eyes stuck on the old stains on the headliner, the voices inside me start to fight with each other. How could you be so proud? I say to myself. Was it really weak to ask for help? If I had asked for support from a few friends, maybe I wouldn't be in this situation. But each time I said, I'll manage, and looked for a way out on my own, I realize now that I've been fooling myself. I was crushed by my pride. I couldn't see my own mistakes. If I had accepted that job offer, or if I had called a friend for a loan and poured my heart out, my life would have been so different, wouldn't it? But the worst thing is, I don't really have anyone anymore. Sometimes I look at the names in my phone book, my fingers keep hovering over a number, but I don't have the courage to call any of them. Am I brave enough to say, hello, I can't get out of this hole I've fallen into, I need help? Number, maybe this is my test. If I accept help, I will look weak and unsuccessful in the eyes of others. Or, this is a weak shield I have built for myself. Maybe behind that shield is a truly frightened person. Darkness had fallen and the rain outside had increased its speed. I sit in the car, wrapped in a thin blanket. How long can I stay in such deep loneliness? I hate myself, but at the same time, a faint glimmer of hope burns inside me. Maybe I shouldn't be afraid to try anymore. I stared blankly outside for a while, and then something happened. I said to myself, either you're going to go on like this, or you're going to take action to change something. My voice echoed in the silence inside the car, but I felt something stirring inside me. It was that tiny ray of hope burning inside me. I took a deep breath. I had to try again. Asking for help was not weakness. Perhaps it was courage itself. Even though this thought created a fear in me, I had no other choice. If I wanted change, I had to swallow my pride first. At that moment, I picked up my phone. For the first time, I put my fingers to the screen to call someone. My heart was pounding like crazy. Maybe this was the most important decision I would ever make in my life, to call someone and say, I need help. The number I dialed rang. It was the first time I'd ever asked for help so confidently. This was a step toward starting over. Nothing would ever be the same again. After I hung up the phone, I took a deep breath. Asking for help really wasn't as scary as I thought it would be. It was the first time I'd taken a step, and that alone was enough to make me feel strong. Within a few days, an old friend of mine arranged a small job for me. It was only for a few hours, but just the thought of having some money in my pocket gave me hope again. The first day I went to work, I felt strangely excited. I had worked in a much higher position in the past, but now even a menial job seemed valuable to me. The effort and dedication I put into my work brought back the old sparkle in my eyes. This job reminded me that I had a purpose beyond providing a temporary income. After a few weeks, I found a more regular job. I was getting stronger every day. With the money I saved, I first had my car serviced, then I arranged for better accommodation. I no longer had to sleep in the car. Having a room, however small, gave me a sense of home again. Every day as I commuted to and from work, I reminded myself that each step pulls me a little higher from where I had fallen. With each step, I was getting stronger, overcoming my fears and not letting my pride hold me back. Although it was hard at first, I was slowly regaining my confidence. I was starting to feel safe in my new job and in my new, albeit small room. Everything seemed to be going well, but life was determined to test me once again. One morning, as I left my room to go to work, I received an unexpected phone call. My workplace was downsizing, and it was announced that several positions would be cut. I had a bad feeling. I soon learned that my job was in jeopardy. A panic gripped me. No, it's the same thing again, I thought. Just when things were starting to look up, I was at risk of falling again. As the traces of the past flashed in my mind, I thought about how I could resist this situation. In the past, I had given up completely in such a situation, but this time I had a stronger desire. I had to pass this test. I searched for a new job for days, but it turned out to be more difficult than I thought. My old fears and anxieties were coming back. What if I end up on the streets again? What if I don't succeed? In the midst of these difficulties, just when I was at the point of giving up, I remembered the courage I felt at that first moment of decision. I told myself again and again that I could do it. Finally, I mustered up more courage and applied for a small business. This time, I had the opportunity to build a career for myself, not just a temporary solution. The job I applied for was a position where I could develop my skills, and I did everything I could to get the job. This step showed me that I can overcome bigger challenges as long as I am not afraid to fall. When the new job I had applied for accepted me, I felt an indescribable happiness. I was no longer working just to survive, but to improve myself and add value. Every day on my way to work, I felt that everything I'd been through in the past had prepared me for this place. All the pain, the hardships, the lonely nights. It had all served a purpose. Within months, I moved up in my job. My responsibilities increased. I was now in a position to support and encourage others. I never forgot those few people who supported me and stood by me in my difficult times. I met them at the first opportunity to thank them. One day, as I looked around my small but cozy office, I felt proud of myself. I never thought I would get to a place like this when I had lost everything, when I was all alone. But I realized that even in my worst moments, I carried that little ray of hope inside me. It was the most precious thing inside me, that little hope that never gives up. I now had my own home, a reliable job, and most importantly, a plan to achieve my dreams. This moment of triumph was not a destination, but the beginning of a journey that would last a lifetime. I felt strong, fearless, and fully alive. After years of hard work and resilience, I had finally reached the point I had dreamed of. I was standing in front of the company's board of directors, this time to present the biggest project of my life. In my mind, I had put aside the voices from my past, the fears that had dragged me down. I was here now, and I deserved every moment. When the presentation was over, there was silence in the hall. My heart was beating rapidly. Then there was a round of applause. The chairman of the board stood up and motioned for me to come to him. "We believe in you," he said, looking into my eyes. "You are the leader who will make this project work." All those sleepless nights, moments of worry, even the cold nights in the back seat of the car, it all made sense now in this moment of triumph. When I got back to my office, I looked out the window. As I looked towards the horizon, I felt an indescribable peace. I had succeeded against all odds. I had forged my own path. I had challenged my fears. I was now in a place where I could give hope not only to myself, but also to others. I felt that I had taken control of my life and that I had never given up on myself. This peak moment was not just an achievement, but the fulfillment of a promise I had made to myself. I was no longer afraid of losing because I knew that no matter how much I fell, I could get up again. After that day when I reached the top, I began to look at every moment of my life differently. Every failure, every fall was like the stones that brought me here. I no longer saw my fears as a burden, but as a lesson that gave me strength. Each new day was another opportunity that illuminated my path. When I thought of the days when I was crushed under the weight of the past, I only remembered the courage I gained in those difficult moments. I was no longer living only for myself, but to inspire everyone who was going through hard times like me and looking for a way out. Because I knew that even in the darkest moments, a light can burn and that light can carry you to the top. I was no longer afraid of falling in life because I knew that I would get stronger with every fall. And I would continue to write my own story by getting up again every time.